I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's Tuesday. Denver poised to pass a mask ban for ICE agents, joining other cities in pushing back on enforcement. It's law enforcement v. law enforcement. Who's going to follow the order? If you're a Denver police officer right now, I got to imagine you're sitting there going, with all the things I got to deal with, chasing around an ICE agent for wearing a mask, trying to protect his identity just so he doesn't get doxxed by those lunatics that are protesting down there. That's what you want me to do? Oh, my goodness. We'll get into this. Denver joining with mayors of Los Angeles, Seattle, Chicago, signing orders attempting to restrict federal officers, and the Department of Homeland Security calling it despicable and a flagrant attempt to endanger our officers, saying to be crystal clear, we will not abide by this unconstitutional ban. Wow. What is shaping up in Denver? We finally getting our Tiananmen Square moment between federal law enforcement and Mayor Mikey. All of that and more to come. Now it's time for the news.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning. It's Tuesday, 37 and partly cloudy in Denver, 36 in the Springs. Expecting highs in the upper 60s today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning. For a new home heating and cooling system, contact your Lennox dealer, Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Our top story, the Supreme Court will take up a request from ExxonMobil and Suncor to toss a suit brought against them by the city and county of Boulder. But Climate Law Institute legal director Jason Rylander says it's more important than ever to hold these companies accountable.
Communities, states, local governments are facing significant costs from rising temperatures, from forest fires, from sea level rise. And who's going to pay for that?
Boulder sued the companies, and then he got on his bike, and I'm sure he doesn't have a cell phone. Or a smartphone.
Please,
or whatever.
finish, and then I'll provide comment.
Okay, alleging that knowingly and substantially contributed to the climate crisis by producing, promoting, and selling a substantial portion of the fossil fuels, while the oil companies argued that regulating interstate pollution is an inherently federal area necessarily governed by federal law. Go ahead.
All right. You want to talk about making people pay when you have to shiver in your non-heated home. Then we could talk about making people pay, because that's what's going to happen if you continue to penalize. Look, these guys have already driven oil and gas out of Colorado with their stupid laws. You remember when they tried to put it on the ballot initiative?
Yep.
And then Coloradans were like, no, we want cheap, affordable energy. What are you talking about? And then they elected Democrats, and the next session, Democrats came in and implemented that exact same law that the Coloradans rejected. And then all the oil and gas companies are like, we're out of here. Chevron's left Denver. They don't want to be a part of this anymore. Now, these dopes, golly, this gets me so fired up. These dopes who entire life revolves around having access to oil. Right? Mm-hmm. It's not just your car and gasoline and all this stuff. It's all the plastics. It's everything in your life relies upon this. This nitwit is gonna show up at court and try to sue these guys into the ground.
Yep. It's horrible.
This is biting the hand that feeds you.
Right? Just putting the brakes on everything that is good, that makes our life beautiful. There will soon be limits on the sale of tobacco and psychoactive products in Aurora. After months of public discussion, the city council approved a measure during Monday's city council meeting. Nobody at the meeting spoke in opposition to the measure. More than 100 licensed tobacco retailers are within 1,000 feet of schools and recreation centers. 47's first State of the Union speech of his second term is set for tonight. Many Democratic lawmakers are planning to boycott the address before a joint session of Congress. 7 o'clock start tonight, Mountain Time.
What? Wake me when the show starts.
It's already been on a while.
Wake me when it's over.
DJT is expected to visit Texas a few days before next week's primary elections. He'll be in Corpus Christi on Friday. Flights to and from...
Now, guys, I do want to ask you this about Trump and the State of the Union. Because do you guys remember Biden? When everybody's like, oh, this is going to be such a snoozer. And then Biden actually like kind of came out feisty. And everybody was like, whoa, all right. This guy can find a gear when he needs to.
Was it really him?
Yeah, that's a good point. But
how tall was he?
We're into Trump's sixth year as president of the United States, not consecutively, but sixth year. This is not typically the most exciting time to be the president. You know, you'll have one more that'll be really boring, his seventh year, and then it'll be his farewell one, and then just kind of right off into the sunset. So, what do you expect? Do you guys think Trump's going to come with a whole bunch of energy, excitement, gonna connect, or do you think he's just going to kind of draw on? Oh my gosh, it's Tuesday morning. I need to wake up here. Is he just going to kind of be boring out there, draw this thing out?
I think he's going to try to promote everything as much as possible, try to sell it. I don't know. At this point, he's going to have to do more than just talk. I don't know what Billy thinks, but, he's going to try to sell everything.
I don't know. Because the one thing that has been proven so far is he doesn't stick to a planned script. He goes off of that script all the time.
Yeah. No, I don't think he reads the speeches before.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I've sat in speeches of his where he's commenting on his own speech as if he's reading it for the first time. So I'll give you an example. I was at the National Prayer Breakfast one time, and he goes, family is the bedrock of America. Like it's scripted. Family is the bedrock of America. And he goes, so true. So true.
Good line.
Yeah. You're
line, Margie,
on your own speech, man.
Sarah.
Yeah. And I'm curious about how much of that is. I think also he does like this whole airing of the grievances thing. So I have a feeling that we're going to go into that quite a bit, especially over the recent court loss. I'm curious how he sells economic prosperity because we talked about it last hour a little bit. That was the problem with Biden. Biden came out and said, the economy is doing good. Look at all the numbers. The economy is doing good. And voters said, it's costing me more to put food on my table. Rent is costing more. My energy bills are going up. I don't feel like I'm winning. And despite the numbers that Biden rolled out there, the average person didn't feel like they were winning. And that was one of the major reasons that Donald Trump is back in office. I wonder, is he going to try the same thing? Because his numbers are upside down on the economy. And I believe that you are hard-pressed to find anyone that would be classified as middle or upper middle class that feels they are doing well at this point and aren't seeing their bills rise and have questions about where they're going to be in a couple of years. That's the same problem Biden had. So I'm curious, how is he going to sell that? If he comes out and says the stock market is going gangbusters, that's not going to help. It's not going to help because the stock market is not the economy. It's a piece of it, but only around 50% of U.S. Citizens are invested in the stock market, and 80% of the stock is held by 10% of the investors. So that as a bellwether of good economy, despite what Pam Bondi says during a congressional hearing, doesn't mean everything's going great. So that's what I'm curious about, is if he's going to come out here and sell that the economy is going well, then how does that happen? Where's the American golden age? Where's the results of his economic policies? I'm just curious. I just want to see how he sells it. Yeah, I'm not saying he can't. I just want to see the how.
I definitely think he needs to press the reset button on the industry, on manufacturing, and give the American people proof that it's working. We've heard the stories of the steel at factories and proof and evidence that it is working, at least partially. It's going to take time. But that may not hurt, or, right now, because honestly, a lot of Americans feel like I do. I'm not saying the majority of them, but Tucker had that to me, it was an incredible interview with Mike Huckabee last week, the U.S. ambassador to Israel. And as we get ready for the State of the Union tonight, this is what I care about, and a lot of Americans care about who voted for DJT. The great question that he asked Huckabee was this one: how much does it matter what Americans think?
Well, it matters every bit what Americans think. That's why Americans vote. It's why Americans have the opportunity to have free speech. We want them to have that.
Okay, so what percentage of Americans support a war with Iran?
I don't know. Do you know?
I do. I think it's around, I saw the numbers yesterday. I think it was like 21%.
Okay.
Is that enough to have a war with Iran?
We don't live in a world where you have a poll taken to find out whether our policy should be a particular direction. Because
I thought you just said that
that's direct democracy. No, we care deeply about it, but only.
I think Americans want to be heard. So we'll see tonight if DJT expresses that and Americans feel like they are heard. I don't know. We'll find out.
Blake, I am seeing rumors online that Bondi's got 30 days.
Good.
Do you think that's a good thing? You ready to see her go?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. Why?
I think she is compromised. I don't think she has the best interest of the American people in mind. I don't think she's very smart, actually. And I think it would be a good thing for the majority of people who supported 47. I think they would applaud it. I think it would be a great political move for Trump, I feel. And Kash Patel also. Just gut feeling. That's my feeling.
Did the trip to the Olympics make you angry that what Kash was doing?
Well, he was already there because he had business in Italy. I guess he was solving crimes over there or talking to them. I'm not sure. And they invited him. So, okay. He could have declined, said, yeah, guys, hey, I'm rooting for you, but I don't think it'd be a good look. I don't think it'd be a good look right now. So it kind of, it did bother me, just the optics of it. But they did invite him. I just, he looks compromised. They all look like they're handled by someone else. And
do you think Trump's compromised?
Possibly. I don't know if he's compromised. I don't think. I'm not sure yet. Honestly, I don't know if he's more influenced by people we don't know, or he's unable to do what he wants to do, or we have to wait and see. I mean,
well, he can't do what he wants to do because they've got Congress and that pesky Supreme Court. Darn it!
And that's another problem because Congress is compromised.
What about the Supremes? He said the Supremes are.
I think they may be as well. I mean, I don't know.
I think that's interesting. I think, well, if I was advising the Democrats, I would have pounced on Donald Trump's press conference statement about the Supreme Court being compromised, I would have pounced on that.
What would you have said?
And by Friday afternoon, I would have said, and again, this is official Democrat spokesperson talking, so you got to imagine me. I'm thinner, probably a little bit nasally, and I've got a better haircut. But I'd say, do things like, we agree with the questions raised by the president. We have concerns as well. That's why we are calling for an investigation and possible impeachment of Neil Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts. Let's start with the 3 conservatives that Donald Trump says are compromised. Let's investigate them and possibly impeach them. MAGA has been running around talking about impeaching judges that have disagreed with Donald Trump's ruling because they're not letting him get what he wants. Well, if Donald Trump says on the national stage these people are compromised, I would have pounced by Friday afternoon talking about launching investigations because I would want to control the narrative on the Sunday talk shows. That's where I would be looking for. I would have made a huge stink about that.
Right.
Because they're the Democrats. And and here's the example, okay? Jeff's going to launch this topic here in a second, and let me give you this example, okay? When they're talking about removing the masks from ICE, we had this conversation last week that the core is about identifying who's doing it, and you don't want an anonymous law enforcement in your city. Yeah. Well, the masks don't necessarily prevent that or allow it. It's department, badge number, last name. None of that is in there. Nothing. They just want to see their cute little faces. And that is stupid. And it does not accomplish what they claim to want. They want to hold law enforcement responsible if they get off the chain. That is not done based on the individual's face. That's done based on department, badge number, last name. That's how you do it. Yeah. But they're not asking about that. This is an example of why the Democrats are literally, in my opinion, too stupid to find the right form of attack. That's why they couldn't figure out the Supreme Court thing on Friday. Too dumb. They're running around talking about masks. And here we are.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah.
36 in the Springs, 37 in Denver. That's the latest. I'm Blake Olson. More of the Jeff and Bill Show ahead on News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver, and now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you hear both sides. We are the Jeff and Bill Show.
Your 7:10 5-day forecast, cloudy skies for early Tuesday. Temperature starting off in the middle and upper 30s. Despite some of those clouds for Tuesday and again Wednesday, remaining very mild. Highs upper 60s and even some low 70s. Lows going to be upper 30s and low 40s. Breezier winds over 40 miles an hour Wednesday. Wednesday night and a Thursday, a few rain and or snow showers. Temps mid 60s to round out the work week. I'm meteorologist Don Watzel in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460 FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show, where you hear both sides. Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Yeah.
It's coming. By the way, I have Faith, the history teacher.
Yes.
Who is wonderful, by the way. She's an AP government teacher in a very big school district, and she has provided us with her official State of the Union bingo card, and I've put it online. So we go to x.com/Jeff Hunt. You can get the official Faith, the AP government history teacher, her bingo card, but you're on your own for the alcohol.
That seems fair. That seems fair.
So go check that out there. Thank you so much. Faith now, Mr. Thorpe. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people has decided what must be done in the city of Denver. Pass a mask ban for ICE agents. Denver is on track to join a growing number of cities, the Denver Post reporting, that are trying to restrict immigration enforcement operations after the city council unanimously gave initial approval Monday to a ban on officers wearing masks. All 13 members of the council voted in favor of this new law, which would ban all law enforcement, including those with U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement, from wearing facial coverings while detaining or arresting people. It would also require them to wear visible identification. We took it for granted, they write, that law enforcement wasn't wearing masks, and it's not anything that we ever planned or thought of passing until last year. And when we started seeing masked agents harassing people across our country, and even before we saw anyone get murdered, the ordinance, that was Councilwoman Flor Alvidrez, one of the sponsors of the legislation. The ordinance, which cleared a block vote Monday, still needs approval on final reading next week. If passed, it will go into effect immediately after Mayor Mikey signs the measure. Now, just a reminder, I just want to take people in Colorado on a little journey here. The city of Denver in 2019 hung up a big banner. In fact, 9 News called it a love letter to immigrants. City Council building, the big one downtown, had a big banner. We heart immigrants. We heart immigrants. And the country took notice. In fact, a certain governor in Texas who's dealing with a massive influx of illegal immigrants at the time was going, who would really like these people? Oh, yeah, there's a city just a little bit west of here, northwest, that said they would love them. Put a big sign out. We heart immigrants. And so Greg Abbott puts them all on a bus in February and ships them up here. Mayor Mikey having to deal with 45,000 legal immigrants coming into the city of Denver. And at that point, doesn't just say, hey, guys, this is a real burden on our community. No. They doubled down to the tune of $356 million spent on lawyers, on workforce training, on 6 months of apartment living, and even your own debit card to be able to go buy food, all on the taxpayer's dime in the city of Denver. Now, remember that number, $356 million, because it wasn't but 2 years later that the city found itself in big financial problems to the tune of a deficit of $250 million. They ended up cutting services to their own constituents and then terminating a whole bunch of jobs, leaving hundreds vacant. So the city of Denver now a shell of what it used to be with regards to services and employment. But we felt good about hanging a big banner. So all of that leads me to where Mayor Mikey is now. And by the way, Mikey also saying that when Trump got elected, that he will send the Denver police to the county border to fight ICE agents. And he would even go to jail himself. This was what he called a Tiananmen Square moment. Imagine the mayor of Denver there with that tank rolling down Colfax. He was going to put himself there. Now, his wife is an attorney and kind of walked Mayor Mikey back on all this. Your husband and father, I don't think they want you in jail, Mayor Mikey. So he gets brought before Congress. I was in that room. Thank you, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, for providing us that opportunity. And we got to watch him get grilled by Congress, even to the point where there was a referral to the FBI that he was harboring illegal immigrants. Not sure whatever happened to that. Maybe goes back to the previous conversation about Pam Bondi. But that's where we are. Now we're going to ban ICE agents from wearing masks. I did, and I went and looked up the kind of political makeup of the city council, just to kind of understand these people. I don't live in the city of Denver. I live out on the Eastern Plains. So I don't really know the makeup. So I spent time, Mr. Thorpe, yesterday diving into their background, read all their bios, and I came to some interesting conclusions here. Yeah. So here we go. Okay. Here are the backgrounds of the city council and mayor of Denver to give you a sense of who they are. Okay, so Mayor Mikey's background's in education and politics. The city council president, Amanda Sandoval, nonprofit and politics. Kevin Flynn, a journalist. Jamie Torres, government background. Diana Romero Campbell, nonprofits. Amanda Sawyer, law and business. Paul Cushman, journalism and business. Flor Alvidarez, real estate. Chantel Lewis, nonprofit and politics. Daryl Watson, business. Chris Hines, business. Stacy Gilmore, nonprofit. Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez, nonprofits, politics. Sarah Parody, nonprofits, politics. So of the 14 listed above, 5 kind of have a background in business, but a vast majority nonprofit political activists, which leads me to another story I want to cover this hour about the city of Denver putting a moratorium now on the development of data centers, because I think these stories are linked, okay? And here's the mayor of Denver, Mikey Johnston, on these data centers.
Today, Denver is putting a pause on building new data centers. But let me tell you why. We know we all use more data every single day, including just watching this video. But we also know with more demand for data is that we'll need more data centers, but these new data centers have a different impact on neighborhoods. They require a lot more water, a lot more electricity, and we want to make sure they fit in our neighborhoods in a way that protect all of our residents. That's why over the next several months, we'll be working with City Council and getting your feedback to create the right set of regulations to make sure we can build data centers that protect all of our values. In Denver, we're different. We both are pro-business and we're pro-climate. We want to be one of the world's headquarters for technology, and we want to be one of the first cities to get to be 100% renewable. And if we do this the right way, we'll be able to hit both of those goals. We've done it before. You might recognize this building. It's Denver's gas and electric building. It was built more than 100 years ago and was first built. It was one of the first electrified buildings in the West. It made famous the idea you could have electricity in major buildings. You may not know that now it actually hosts a data center. It's been there for 20 years. We know if we do this thoughtfully and do it right, we can fit this new technology as seamlessly into our neighborhoods as we did 100 years ago. And that's what we're going to work on together with you.
It is so uplifting. Mayor Mikey, yes. Maybe we're gonna put a pause on that development of data centers. That is AI, that's Meta, that's Google, that's all these things. Well, we need to pause to get the policies right and make sure everything. It's not like we're having a massive boom right now in that industry that could bring tremendous jobs to the area. We want to, quote, strengthen our climate commitments. they say, by pausing that development. Meanwhile, though, we're going to rush ahead with making sure ICE agents can't have masks. So the makeup of Denver City Council and the mayor, 5 of them have some business experience, okay? The other 9, nonprofit political experience. And this is what you get with that type of leadership in the city of Denver. You get people that can't develop business, want to pause there to make sure that the climate commitments are met. But we'll make sure today that your ICE agents can't wear masks. That right there is the state of the city of Denver. All right, join us. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Bill, let's talk Ashbaugh Center for Therapy.
Yeah, Ashbaugh Center of Therapy was in with us yesterday, and this is really a well-kept secret in the Denver metro area. They do not do a lot of advertising because they are not the Walmart of physical therapy treatment centers. This is more about personal, private, and spending the time with you. Ashbaugh Center for Therapy, their average visit is 45 minutes. And you're not in a large workout room. It is a one-on-one private session with one of their clinicians. It is hands-on manual therapy, and that is the approach that is key to their services. They proudly accept Medicare along with most other insurances. That Medicare will pay for a treatment every other week. And you're not going to get this level of service anywhere else that's taking Medicare in town. You've got to sit down and think about calling Ashbaugh Center for Therapy if you or someone in your family is dealing with chronic back pain, joint stiffness, recovering from surgery. All of that can be taken care of at Ashbaugh. And think about it. They get a private room, personalized, hands-on treatment where the clinician is with you there the entire time you're doing the work, and they take your insurance. Well, they take most insurances. No rushing, no distractions, just the personalized care that is designed to help you stay independent and active. This is a secret in the Denver metro area. They don't do any other advertising other than here on the Jeff and Bill Show, because their model isn't about pushing as many people through the door as possible. It's about getting the best treatment. Most of their clients are referred by word of mouth. What does that mean to you? If you heard about a restaurant that was mostly word of mouth, you heard about a babysitter, word of mouth recommendations. You hear about a doctor, word of mouth recommendations. That's how Ashbaugh has built their client list. They're stepping outside of that because they like what we do and they like you. So give them a shot. If you're looking for personal therapy, physical therapy, you're recovering from surgery, 303-756-3388. 303-756-3388 or ashbaughpt.com, ASHBAUGH. pt.com. Schedule your evaluation today.
Yeah, you got to go check him out. Bob was with us yesterday, and the staff here at the station lining up to get
that was funny. Every commercial break, there was a line at the door.
Hey, when can I get an appointment? They'd all love to be in there. Check him out, ashbaughpt.com. Text messages, hilarious on this. Look, if you disagree with ICE and border agents wearing masks, just change your sanctuary city policies, and you won't even have to see them. Just a common sense thought, 8422. Oh, if it was just that simple. But if they had common sense, they wouldn't be Democrats to begin with. Other ones. What self-respecting police chief would order his officers to confront Fed officers on wearing masks, and how would they enforce it? Well, you guys ready for this? The enforcement of this is a $99 fine or 300 days in jail. 300 days in jail for being a ICE agent in the city of Denver wearing a mask to protect your family and yourself from being doxxed by radical leftist activists. But if you rape a child in the state of Colorado, you get probation. I'm going to go back to the original text message. If there were common sense, they wouldn't be Democrats. All right, we'll continue. More to come on the Jeff and Bill Show, 710 KNUS in Denver.
And waking up with AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you get to hear both sides. Lon is up next. We're waiting for your phone call. We'll be back after this. This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
.710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show. So, as of January 2026, the Denver metro area office vacancy rate is approximately 23.5%, with downtown or the urban core vacancy rate significantly higher, 35%. In some report, according to some reports. All right, so we got a problem with the city of Denver. People don't want to work down there. People don't want to visit down there. Restaurants are closing. Vacancy rates are high. Apartment vacancy rates are high. And I'm not saying that, my goodness, these data centers that want to be put up there are going to solve all of our problems. But it seems like in a time and place when, I don't know, your largest public companies are fleeing the state, like we learned about Palantir last week, maybe in the midst of a building boom taking place around AI data centers, City of Denver might want to be a part of that. Instead, Mayor Mikey looking to put a moratorium in place on construction of new data centers, talking about the importance of climate, our commitment to climate, water, energy. All right. And I just sat there and I went, well, surely the city council has some developers on it that would be able to speak into this, help guide this. Nope. Nothing there. In fact, most of the city council is made up of nonprofit political activists.
And while you were annoyed for different reasons about the video, I thought the video was dumb as well and outlines my earlier point about the mask mandates. First of all, Mayor Mike Johnson, who mixed your music? Who did that? It's too loud. I'm sorry. Your mix comes over the top and you can't hear what you're saying. When the music is too forward and you can't hear the speech, you have to lower the music. Just what you have to do. I don't know who's on your staff, just giving you a little tip there. Got to lower the music. It should have been compressed underneath you because you missed part of it, especially when you're out speaking in public without a normal sound studio. That's going to be even a worse case scenario. So you got to lower that music. Whoever did it, also dumb music choice, but still, that's personal. The issue is that, as Jeff is outlining, that there's a concern about climate and the climate impact and everything else, and that should not technically be everybody's primary concern about data centers coming into the area. The primary concern about data centers coming into the area should be twofold. And this is an illustration why, even when the Democrats may be right, they're still wrong. This is how Mayor Mike Johnston might be correct. The concern for data centers coming into the Denver metro area are, first and foremost, energy production. Second, water. Those are the two main things you need to provide for most large-scale data centers. And Bloomberg did a study, I think it was last year, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, that they looked at what energy costs did near places where they built data centers. The average increase in energy cost was around 260%. That would mean that if you have a $170 energy bill right now, you're paying over $400 a month because it's a competition for that energy that's generated. Unless you increase the amount of energy generated, meaning opening more power plants, there's a strain on the grid and you're competing with that data center. So your costs go up. That would be the first plank for the Democrats. We can't do this now until we do X, Y, or Z because your power, your costs from Excel are going to increase 200%. That is a message. The second one is dealing with water. Those data centers require, in many cases, a lot of water for cooling. Large-scale ones that would make a significant economic impact inside of Denver. They require water. We're talking about having problems with keeping the water we have right now and the water going to other states. Where in the wide, wide world of sports the extra water coming from for the cooling unless we're going about it a different way? This is the example why even if, and you may disagree with me, even if the Democrats are right by having caution about building data centers, they can't even figure out the reasons to be right. Well, they're still wrong when they could be right.
They did mention those, but here's the bigger problem I have with this is this paralysis that you end up with. It's like, well, before we get anything going, send in all the political activists to evaluate any potential problem that we're going to. Let's get into the minimum wage. Is there going to be unions here? Let's talk about the water issues. Let's talk about where the energy, all this stuff. And you just end up with paralysis. Even Ezra Klein gets into this in his book Abundance, which I'm going through, which is annoying to begin with. But he does get this right. That the Democrats tend to fall into this paralysis by policy that they can't build anything. Here's what I want to see. I want to see so many data centers going up. I want to see this thing popping and humming. I want to see, oh my goodness, the biggest problem we have is not where or all this, but the fact that we have so many going up. Okay, I want that to be the issue we're dealing with, as opposed to laying out hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, climb over. It's like, it reminds me of those cartoons where it's like, first you're going to swing across the spikes, and then you're going to jump on the alligators, and then you're going to, yeah, exactly. And then you're going to have to get through the quicksand just to get this thing built. And you know what's going to happen? The businesses are just going to go somewhere else. This is why your city sucks. Right here.
Don't you think it should be at least a consideration that should be discussed within the top 3 things when we're building all these data centers? What happens to the power grid? Because that means both businesses and private individuals pay more.
Look what these guys did. They put a moratorium in.
Yeah, again, I say that the Democrats, while I think they're correct on slowing down development of data centers, they're doing it for all the wrong reasons, because they still, even, and that's my point, just like with the masks, even when they may have a correct point, they can't find the right answer. Someone's got to help them, because that whole video by Mayor Mike Johnston is just, he might as well have just popcorn farted into the wind. It's ridiculous. The idea of it, it's the core is power. We don't have the power generation capacity at this point to have a massive expansion.
You're right about that. And guess what an enterprising person would do? An actual developer would do? Well, we need nuclear. Well, now we got all these economic or these environmental and concerns about nuclear. Right? Like, developers run into problems on a daily basis. It's what they do for a living, and they figure out a way forward. These yahoos on the Denver City Council are the exact opposite of developers. They throw problems before any type of opportunity, and it stalls it, and your city sucks because of it. All right, I'm all fired up. Join the conversation. Lon, we'll get to you next. I just hate watching our city fall apart, because the problems they create become a distraction from any type of opportunity, and we lose out. Let's talk Mountain High Appliance, folks. President's Day sale going on right now at Mountain High Appliance. Save up to 70% at the Mountain High Appliance Clearance Center in Denver. Their clearance center offers a huge selection of ranges, refrigerators, washers, dryers, and more. Save on open box, scratch, and dent display models and overstocked appliances. Enjoy exclusive local deals not available at big box stores. When it's time for appliances, think Mountain High Appliance Clearance Center for the best prices and selection. 601 East 64th Avenue in Denver. 601 East 64th Avenue in Denver. Check out Mountain High Appliance. More of the Jeff and Bill Show to come. You're listening to News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you get to hear both sides. We are the Jeff and Bill Show.
710 KNUS in Denver.
And now waking up with AM 1460 FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range. This is the Jeff and Bill Show. Hot this morning on the program as Denver backing away from construction of new data centers, leaning in to those mask bans for ICE agents. Very clear. Development, slow down. Political activism, speed forward. Let's go to the phone lines. Lon in Denver. Lon, what do you make of these masks?
Well, there's such a concern nationally and locally about ICE agents wearing masks. I propose that the protesters be required to first register their names and show ID that they're able to protest and not just have a mass of illegals out there protesting so it looks good on the media, and that they are not allowed to wear masks either. That way, they're responsible for their disgusting actions and behavior to our ICE agents. So if the ICE agents can't wear masks, the protesters can't wear masks either. We need to make sure that if the masks are identified, the protesters are identified for their actions.
I mean, did you see the video of an NYPD walking and just getting pelted by snowballs?
I've seen it all. And so why are the protesters allowed to wear masks for their so-called protection? I think the masks for the ICE agents need to be worn so that they don't get spit in their face and have to deal with those protesters, that they're subject to being elusive with wearing their masks. They need to be accountable as well.
I think it's perfectly fine to identify law enforcement via badge number, even last name. That's fine. But we know that these leftists are seeking to dox these federal ICE agents in order to intimidate them, harass them, show up on their front doorsteps and do all that.
Yeah, people under the MAGA umbrella and on the right do the same. We had that happen with judges and lawyers and everything else and lawmakers. So this is just what we do now.
So why is it okay for the protesters to wear the mask, and when they express such disbehavior for the ICE, that they're not held accountable?
My guess is it probably has to do with freedom of assembly under the First Amendment. It's probably where it's going to fall down the line. Thanks for the phone call.
But those Democrats, they love these leftist activists.
Yeah.
They're going to protect them.
And MAGA loves the right activists, too.
They're not going
again, same thing.
Not protect the law enforcement, which is sad. All right. The debate is hot and will continue. Join us. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show on 710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. We'll be right back.